Where's the last house in the cul-de-sac?
Okay. All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. The January Zoning Board of Appeals, January 6, 2022, everyone. Let it be known the roll call. Everyone is here except Claire. All right, so we have 6 and welcome back, Artie. Nice to have you back from the brief stint on the city council. Yeah, your interim post. So it's good to have you back. Let me start actually with the Zoning Board of Appeals preamble before we go into the organizational procedural items and any old business. So just for those of you in attendance and any on stream, the Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with the responsibility of granting variances to ordinance requirements after determining whether there exists an undue hardship upon an applicant. In determining whether or not to grant a variance, the board shall apply the criteria specified in the city code of ordinances to the facts of each case. The Zoning Board of Appeals does not create zoning, nor can it change zoning. Matters brought before the Zoning Board of Appeals are to be concerned only with variances from requirements of the zoning ordinance, the sign ordinance, and development environmental ordinance. The board has no authority to grant variances for use, density, or height. Further, the board hears cases requesting an appeal to a staff interpretation or decision on these same ordinances. Final decisions of the Zoning Board of Appeals may be appealed by petitioning the Superior Court of DeKalb County within 30 days after the decision is rendered here this evening. With that, we will proceed. Any organizational and procedural items? I see election of officers here. Madeline, do we have to elect officers, do we? Of course. Chair and vice chair. I think the mayor has reached out to, I think the staff is pretty well set. I think the mayor has reached out to everyone that's and reaffirmed if they needed to be their positions for the term. So do I have an application or a nomination for chairman? You continue, right? I can, but it's not mandatory. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, motion to, I have to do my first motion as a new person. But Joe to continue.
I second that motion.
First and second, all those in favor? I saw this movie with you. You never got out of this chair, did you? So, all right, great. So vice chair, who the current vice chair is Claire, right? And she's not here, so that's always great because we always nominate someone who's not here to repeat the role. But we can open to other one. If anybody else, honestly, if anybody else is interested in assuming the position, I think it's great. If not,
I nominate Claire.
Okay, we got one nomination for Claire. A second from Artie. All those in favor of Claire retaining her post as vice chair? All right. Election of officers is complete. Madeline, thank you. There is no unfinished business to my knowledge, and so we'll proceed to new business. First case is ZBA 21-30. Matthew Johnson, on behalf of the homeowners at 5398 Halford Drive, Dunwoody, requests a variance from, yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. The minutes. So not everyone was attendance last year for the minutes, but some were for last month. So anybody have any edits or questions about the December minutes? They looked pretty complete when I reviewed them. Any other edits, concerns? I have a motion to accept those minutes from the December meeting.
And just a quick clarification on the minutes. I think Claire was inquiring about when current terms were due.
Okay.
And so I don't know, I didn't see it on here, and if we can just investigate that further.
So that's on the website, right, Madeline, the current terms and so forth. I know. Yeah. So they're typically 3-year terms. I know the mayor reached out to myself and maybe a couple others about their current term or extending their current term. So I think
Being on city council that you gotta go through.
Well, I know she's the one that asked it, and I know she's not here. And I know we just
Sure.
elected her as co-chairs. I just
Yeah,
want to make
oh,
sure.
that's
you know what I mean?
That's a great point.
So you guys are 3 years ahead.
Yeah, I think Claire and I were rolling off potentially, and then the mayor asked us to stay on for another 3 years, so. It's like the firm. Staff, thank you for recognizing me on the minutes there and my haste to blow through here and get to the business at hand for those who are in person, the applicants. Let me start again with the new business of ZBA 21-30, Matthew Johnson. Oh, we didn't vote.
We didn't vote.
I tell you what, long layoff of the holidays here. So we do have acceptance of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from December for those that were in attendance?
Yeah, I approve. Move to approve the minutes from last December's meeting.
To approve? Do I have a
Motion to
second?
approve.
I'll second that.
All right, now we have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor to approve the minutes from December? All right. ZBA 21-30, Matthew Johnson, on behalf of the homeowners at 5398 Halford Drive, Dunwoody, requests a variance from chapter 16, section 78 to allow a new deck and sunroom converted from part of an existing deck to encroach into the 75-foot stream buffer. I know there's some questions about the buffer, the 25 and the 75, and Madeline, I know you're gonna walk us through that and actually, oh, great, excellent. And walk us through walk us through this and give us your interpretation and the decision you are recommending.
So, hi everyone, my name's Allegra Denoyer. I think most of you know me, but anyway, I'm a planner here and I'm giving Madeline a break today. So I'm presenting. Let me pull up the slides. Okay, so the first case is 21-30. They're requesting to allow a new deck and a sunroom converted for part of an existing deck to encroach into the 75-foot stream buffer. These are the existing conditions. Their backyard has a significantly steep drop leading down to the bank of the stream. The 75-foot stream buffer is shown as a black dotted line on the site plan to the right. As you can see, it includes almost all of the backyard, including an existing deck and also a small portion of the house. The existing deck is wooden. It's 1,050 square feet. It's shown in the photo to the left, and there is an impervious concrete pad underneath the deck. The deck currently exists as legal non-conforming or grandfathered in. The need for the variance was triggered since the applicant is proposing to expand the deck further into the buffer and to increase the impervious surface within the buffer with the construction of a sunroom. So the applicant proposes to construct a new 337 square foot sunroom within the footprint of the existing deck and to expand the existing deck by adding 771 square feet of new encroachment in the form of a lower deck and projecting an additional 15 feet into the buffer. The proposed sunroom and lower deck are shown on the site plan to the right, and in a more detailed plan is shown to the left. Most other properties on Halford Drive have the same stream buffer restrictions and similar topography. Many of these properties have existing outdoor spaces similar to the existing space at 5398 Halford Drive. Based on staff's review of the aerial imagery, there are no equivalents to the deck configuration proposed by the applicant at any of these other properties. Staff does foresee no significant disturbance to the existing vegetation or to water flow through the expansion of the lower deck, and negative impacts could be mitigated through native plantings. While there is no significant harm in the proposal, staff finds no special conditions or extreme hardship that justifies an additional 15 feet of projection into the buffer. Given that other properties in the area have the same restrictions, staff feels that approving the requested proposal as is would constitute the granting of special privileges and would go beyond the minimum necessary to afford relief. However, the new sunroom has a very minimal impact on the impervious surface within the buffer, impacting less than 1% of the buffer. Staff does find that allowing the applicant to enclose a portion of the deck to allow increased flexibility of the space provides reasonable use and enjoyment of the property. Therefore, staff proposes that the lower deck be removed from the site plan and that the project be limited to the area outlined in red on the site plan to the right. So today we received an updated proposal from the applicant. They are proposing the same sunroom, upper deck, and lower deck configuration as the original proposal. However, they're also proposing demolishing the 180 square foot concrete patio under the deck, so increasing the pervious surface that way. And that's circled in red on the site plan to the right. And also planning erosion control ground coverings on the stream bank. Based on this updated proposal, if the board were to approve the lower deck, staff finds this updated proposal to be preferable to the original proposal because of these two additional conditions and mitigations. In that case, we would recommend conditioning the approval to the demolition of the concrete patio and the planning of native erosion control ground coverings on the stream bank to be approved by the city arborist. And that's on the motion sheet if you want to look at those there. So then based on the reasons discussed in the review and approval criteria, staff recommends approval subject to the conditions on the screen here. Notably, we are recommending the removal of the lower deck from the project. And that's all I have, so thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have Mr. Johnson or anyone else on behalf of the applicant to come to the podium?
May I like to pass these out, please? My name is Rick Hochek. I'm the owner of the home. My name is Rick Hochek. I am the owner of the home at 5398 Halford Drive. My wife, on behalf of my wife, I'm speaking for both of us. Our contractor, Matt Johnson, whose name is on your sheet, he is here. He is the CEO and owner of Artisans of Atlanta. He's our contractor. If I get stuck on a construction question that you have that I can't answer, he's my backup. He's my wingman. Can I come over here now? Can I take it with me? I'll do it.
With that, yeah. You're gonna run it, yeah, just move the easel over probably.
All right, we're ready to rock and roll. First of all, thank you all for your consideration and the opportunity to present to you tonight. It's an honor. I want to thank as well Madeline and Allegra, who are city planners with Dunwoody. I've enjoyed my conversations with them over the last couple of weeks. I've learned a lot. So this has been an educational process for me, and it's good to have capable people in city government, which we currently obviously do. We are here because we're requesting a variance to the stream buffer rule for our construction project. And there are three reasons why we believe we'd like to request your approval. Reason number one is, well, let's start with stream buffers. Of course, they're created for the purpose of protecting the integrity and the from contaminants and erosion of a water flow system, whether a stream or a river. My wife and I wish to do nothing at all to impede or negatively impact the stream behind our house. And in fact, our revised proposal today is in fact, will improve over what it currently is so that the stream is protected from contaminants and such. But there are three reasons why we'd like your approval. Number one is everything that we're going to build is elevated. It's above ground, it's in the sky. It's not on the ground. We're not asking to build a deck. Allegra mentioned a first level and a second level. I'm not really sure what she's talking about. There is a slight drop off of a couple feet in the design, but it doesn't touch the ground. So everything we're building is above ground. And my first question is, does the stream buffer even apply to a construction piece that's not touching the ground where the stream is? So I would hope that it doesn't, but I'll move on to reasons number 2 and 3, which are the adjustments to our original plan. And these are the ones that, in fact, improve the condition of the stream. We have not a 180 square feet concrete patio in the back. We have a 220 square feet. It's 20 by 11. What we're willing to do is, in exchange for the 10 footings that will anchor the deck above, each of the 10 footings is 2 by 2, so that's 4 square feet. 4 square feet times 10 is 40 square feet. So there's 40 square feet of new impervious surface that would be in the ground to support the deck and the sunroom. In exchange for that, we're willing to demolish the 220 square foot patio, which is a net gain of 180 square feet of now flow through ground that would not flow into the stream. It would flow deep into the ground. Right now, that concrete slab, that concrete patio is a detriment to the stream, but by getting rid of it and putting landscape rock instead of it, we would in fact be improving the integrity of the stream. The second change we would do is along the riverbank from one end of our property to the other, we would plant erosion control ground cover, specifically periwinkle and Japanese spurge, which are both known for their erosion control properties. And we would do that so that we would, in a new way, protect, which it's not there now, to protect any erosion or contaminants from getting into the stream. So again, 3 reasons, and I've given you a 3-page handout. The 3 reasons I've just covered are on page 1, highlighted in yellow. The second page shows a side diagram of the home with the deck, which gives validity to the fact that everything we're building, sunroom and deck, is elevated above ground, with the exception of the footings that are going to support it. And that's where the trade-off comes in of the 220 minus the difference of the 40 equals the 180 to the good of new flow-through ground that will protect the stream. And then on this third sheet shows a top-down view and sort of an aerial view. If you look at the bottom of the sheet, that's the front of the house. The back of the sheet shows the new deck and such. And there's a circled area over to the right, which is the 20 by 11 foot concrete patio. And that's what would be demolished. That's 220 square feet. And then on the river stream bank, I noted them in red, would be the plantings of the ground coverings. We'll put in as many as we need to. I mean, we'll go side by side if we need to, whatever it is. But we'll do what we can to protect the stream in a way now. This is 2 ways to protect the stream that are not there now. Getting rid of the patio and planting the ground coverings. And that's a trade we're willing to make in exchange for approval of the elevated and above ground deck. So I just want to run through the map again, just to kind of embed it. The concrete patio is 20 by 11. That equals 220 square feet of impervious ground and surface. The 10 footings are also impervious. They're 2 by 2 each. That equals 4 times 10 is 40 square feet. But we were willing to do away with the 220 in exchange for the 40 square feet of footings, which is a net gain of square feet of better turf to protect the stream. And also, the 3 reasons. It's elevated. So question 1 is, does the stream buffer even really apply to something that's not on the ground? The 180 square foot of benefit that we will do by destroying the concrete patio, and the ground cover, which isn't there now either, and we will plant it in order to protect the stream. We want to do our part to be good citizens and to be good to the environment. And yet we'd also like to have a great new sunroom and a bigger deck to enjoy it with our friends and family. So on these bases, we ask your approval, please, for this deck and sunroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody who would like to also speak in behavior, in support of the applicant here? Do you have any opposition that would like to speak? Please proceed to the podium.
I'm Brent Cranendonk. I live right behind Rick's property. Well, shifted over one lot behind his property to the north. I think his moves are an improvement. I don't take issue with any of it. And it's probably a good addition to the neighborhood. The problem with these streams we have in Dunwoody, and this one is particularly difficult, no amount of periwinkle is going to save that bank. It's a big drop off. It goes almost straight down behind his property. And we have trees falling both ways across that creek. I mean, we're talking big trees, and there's one, Rick, I don't know if it's on the corner of your property or maybe it might be on your neighbor's, but very close to the north corner of his property on the creek. And all of our property line zigzags through the creek. There's a tree there that is half naked with no ground supporting the roots. And it was there before George Washington founded the country. It's a huge tree. When it falls, and it will, I have a chainsaw. I have to get out and cut these big trees down. When my neighbor's trees fall on my property, I cut them up. And when mine fall in his property, he cuts them up. And they're lying across the creek still. We don't cut them up. But when this tree goes, it's long enough, it's going to take out my house or my neighbor's house. And it's going to take probably 4 or 5 huge trees. It's a beautiful piece of wooded property. So this might be a little bit off the issue, but the stream buffer doesn't address this kind of problem where you have a drop off that's at about a 70 or 80 degree angle. There's nothing growing on that bank behind his property. And so what we need to do is on the stream buffer, if we're going to get serious about it, is we need to have some kind of, oh, I thought it was accompaniment. But we need to have some kind of gravel put in there, because when this neighborhood was built, and on my side of the stream, our houses are about 15 years younger than the ones on his side of the street, because there were 21 houses that were built on what was going to be a school property. And so what's happened is the development, that tree as old as George Washington was, it's there, but it's now in jeopardy because of all the development has caused more runoff through the stream. And so it would take probably lots of 10 or 12-inch gravel to fill the banks. What's happening is that when we get a rainstorm, it undercuts the edge of the bank.
Okay.
And then a little bit falls off and a little bit falls off.
Sure.
Until you have a huge tree coming down.
That's why it's important we enforce these the variances if we can. So that's a great point.
So if we're serious about this, I mean, eventually his deck will go in the water, maybe in 50 years, I don't know what. But we really need to do something about it, and we need to have approvals to go ahead and clean out these big trees along the edge of the bank. And periwinkle or not, if you go out and see a naked clay bank, it's not rock. It's about this high and it's about that steep.
Mm-hmm.
No amount of growth is going to protect that. And it's not going to grow on that slope. It's going to grow above there, which I would agree would be an improvement. That would be an improvement.
Okay.
Probably taking the concrete out, although his basement might get a little more soggy when he does that. But
well, I think we can. I think the staff we can have a side conversation about that. I think you can get approval. You definitely can get approval since there needs to be maintenance in the stream buffer. To your point, can we go in the stream buffer and take down trees that may be in jeopardy or something? There's certainly provisions for that. I think if you meet with the
this
city.
will be $3,000 takedown to get this tree down.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I wanted to add that because I thought it was the perfect time to talk about it. I do not oppose what they're trying to do.
Okay,
but
great. Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
All right. All right, there's no opposition. Board, any questions for the applicant? We'll close for public comment now. We'll have the questions for the applicant since there's no other. Yeah. You want to go first?
So Mike, I'll just go straight to the heart of the matter for me. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do. Well, I think I understand you. You want to have a sunroof and then the rest of it as a deck.
Yes,
And it's basically the same square footage because you originally had 1,400, so you're gonna go down to 1,100 or something like that, something like 18 square feet above, right?
we're gonna have, it'll be a bigger deck and sunroom. It'll be more square feet.
But essentially it's the same for that part. It's gonna be almost the same square footage. Now, the problem, well, my concern is now the bottom seems to be the issue. Where there's a new proposal now to take out the concrete, and it's going to be more, it's going to be better for people. But what's going to go down there? I still don't understand what's going to be down there.
What's called landscape rock. It's a decorative rock that you can put in, people put them in under their air conditioners or under a power generator. It's something that allows water to flow down, whereas concrete, it has to flow off and therefore could go into the stream and contaminate it. This stops that, allows the water to go down. So it's a decorative rock.
All right. So that's going to replace the concrete. Aside from that, what else is going to be down there? What's going to be there?
What, underneath the deck?
Yeah.
It's pretty much, right now we use it for storage and it's unused space. We don't use it. We don't really use that patio.
And the reason I keep asking is because staff or the city has an issue with granting the lower portion of it. So if you remove, if down there is going to have rocks, what's going to be done there? What's the issue now? There's something that you're building there, or maybe I'm not getting, that causes that difference in opinion.
Be a special privilege.
If I could just clarify really quickly. So the lower deck is not on the ground. It's, let me pull up the
Right.
site plan. Yes, so the reason we made it distinct between so the reason we are distinguishing between the upper deck and the lower deck is because the upper deck and the sunroom are going to exist in the same footprint as the current deck.
Okay.
And then they're adding on a lower deck. It will also be up on footings. It won't be on the ground.
How
Does that-
far, how much of it is, you said a step or two down?
16 inches.
16.
It's basically just, it's 2 steps down. It's not a second deck.
Okay.
It's a 16-inch variance off of the one.
But it is an extension. It is an extension.
Okay.
Basically an extension of current deck, it's just on a different level. Yes.
Yes.
And the problem the city had was it was an exception, right? It was a.
Yeah, no, I understood that, but now I understand better what it's kind of like a step down. I mean,
Yes.
you know, like a lower
It's a
portion.
decorative step down.
It's the same deck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So just so the change today is just demolishing the concrete pad.
And planting the erosion control ground coverings. Those are the two.
Okay,
changes.
so the deck is still the same size, the
Yes.
additional.
Yes, that's what
portion.
we're asking
Okay,
for.
okay.
So I'll continue. So let me ask the city, given what he's proposed, how does the city feel about it? I mean,
Yeah, so we think that this is preferable to the original proposal, which was to just expand the deck and not do the mitigations that the applicant has proposed today. We continue to stand by our recommendation that the lower deck be removed from the approval, since we do think it constitutes a special privilege. But if the board were to approve a proposal that had the entire deck proposal involved, so with the lower deck, we would definitely prefer this one with the mitigation plan over no mitigations.
okay, and I'm gonna ask the city one more thing, before I forget. So the and I read all of it. Are there any other similar or close to similar decks in the neighborhood?
There's a few decks, there's a few pools as well, but there's nothing of the scope that the applicant is proposing. There's nothing that extends that far into the buffer.
Okay.
Can I ask the later question? Is that fair?
Sure.
When you say the second deck, are you talking about the 16-inch drop?
No, sir, I'm talking about yes, sorry, that is the one I'm talking about. Yes, the lower deck.
If we if we just bring that up into the same deck?
No, it's still extending into
No,
the
so
stream buffer.
the issue is that the stream buffer applies to any kind of extension into it, whether or not it's on footings or on the ground.
Because the issue, and you asked earlier why it would matter if it's elevated, because it's a matter of rainfall basically, and how the water is mitigated either by structure on the ground or above ground, or that's why it matters why it'd have to be on the ground for a variance. But yeah, that's a good question. Sorry, Artie, did you have more questions?
No, I'm fine for now.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I had a question for, so for staff, actually. So I'm still not 100% clear. I know there's a trade-off component here to mash up the concrete patio, put in the pebble rock, as I like to call it. But the trigger, again, for the variance approval or request is because you're extending, we keep talking about how we're building just on the existing footprint, but we are actually impeding more into the buffer.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's extending it by 15 feet into the buffer. The other reason why the variance was triggered is because they are planning on enclosing a portion
Correct,
of the
okay,
deck and making it a sunroom.
okay. So it's a footprint thing into the zone, the buffer zone, as well as the actual fact that part of that construction is a sunroom.
Yes.
It's a change, okay.
That's a change.
I think the impervious addition was 1-2% was minimal, the actual impervious.
Right.
addition.
Yeah, the actual impervious is very minimal in comparison with the buffer.
So I know the applicant is, we're kind of focusing on this trade-off component of mashing up. I think and I agree that's with your opinion about mitigation plan is better than no mitigation plan and all that stuff, but I do see kind of like it's trying to figure out how that plays into the overall variance itself and kind of what Artie was saying, what's going to go down there. And I mean, runoff is going to happen one way or the other, but I think the focus is really that in the 15-foot with the overarching blueprint itself. I'm less concerned about the permeable piece and the mashing up of the existing concrete.
So the deck itself, you don't have any under system to catch the water or anything like that, right? It's full through slats, so the water would theoretically pass right through the deck. Okay. Anybody else? Questions?
I had a question for staff, please. So kind of alluding to Ryan's questions, it seems that what we're weighing is the benefit or the allowance of a special privilege
That's right.
versus the benefit coming from removing that impervious surface that is under the current deck. And my question is, how much benefit does it actually provide to remove that concrete, replace it with the pebble rock, but yet it's still, now it's going to be even further under, the deck that's covering that river rock is now extended. So do we really benefit that much in this situation by removing that impervious surface when we're now extending that deck even farther?
Yeah, so we just received this proposal today, so we haven't had time to review it as in depth as we normally do for this kind of thing. So it's sort of hard for me to answer that, but in terms of, like we make our decisions based on the review and approval criteria, and when we went through it, we just couldn't find a justification for, constituting special privileges, et cetera, when most of the other lots have the same topographical restrictions, et cetera. If that answers your question, Ellen.
It does, in the sense that you just haven't had the time to really weigh whether the special privilege can be justified by the reduction of impervious surface.
Correct. Yeah, we received the proposal this afternoon, so.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and that's helpful. That's a good point. I mean, I was just seeking to clarify, and I understand the applicant's desire to have that trade-off as a means of good faith, but I'm just wondering what bearing it has on the overall impact of the variance itself,
I'm
I-
wondering if we let the city go through the process first before we go over the new plan before we make a decision.
Well, if I may,
You may.
I mean, the way I look at this is, I mean, the reason why we're here is because most of this deck or the backyard is in the stream buffer. So you can't do anything anyway, most of any improvements. So the nice thing about when you remove the
Do I have a motion? Anyone? Already?
yeah, I mean, I want to make the motion, but with the addition, let me attempt this, okay?
Number 3.
I move to approve the request for variance from section 16-78 to allow the encroachment into the 75-foot stream buffer to install a new deck and sunroom converted from part of an existing deck, subject to conditions presented by staff, which is construction must be in substantial compliance with the submitted site plan prepared by Alpha Land Services on 10/6/2021 and modified by staff with the appendix. A mitigation plan with native plantings must be provided at the time of permitting and is subject to the approval of the community development director. And I would add that that's the part that I'm trying to weave into the new proposed.
It's option 3. Option 3 is what you're reading. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
item number 2 there.
okay, the concrete patio must be demolished. A mitigation plan. No, option 2 I'm reading, right? Mitigation plan with the native plants, but I want to add the concrete pebbles that he has. Is that there anywhere?
So you would add that to
The mitigation plan?
or or you could add it to number 2, where the concrete patio is
Yeah.
demolished and replaced.
Okay, good. Yeah. So then the next one is the concrete patio must be demolished in accordance with the set plans prepared by artisans of Atlanta on 1/6/22. And then if construction has not commenced within 2 years of the granting variance, approval shall be void. Did I get it?
I just want to confirm, Artie.
Yes,
You want
please.
to approve this with the upper deck and the sunroom and the lower deck?
Yes, but I want them to, I want the
The mitigation.
mitigation
Okay,
of,
so that is
the
option
patio's
3.
got to be,
Option number 3.
okay, then that's it, that's what
You
it is.
didn't put the stones in there that you wanted so badly.
Yeah, give me the pebbles, there you go. Now, the concrete patio must be demolished in accordance with set plans and, but the,
Place of
So
impervious.
the set of plans prepared by artisans of Atlanta that must include replacing the concrete with.
It probably, the clarification, the plan probably, it's probably in the plan. I don't know if the staff has
Yeah.
seen it yet, but
No,
it's probably in the plan, right? So I think that's redundant.
yeah,
Well, it's just referring to one of today's updated submittal. So 3 is saying, yeah, all.
okay. Madeline, you think we're fine?
You want us to start it again from the top?
Probably.
I think for clarity,
Yes.
maybe just start over with the motion.
So we start over, then I'll read 3, right?
Yeah, you want to
There
go
we
for
go.
option 3.
Okay, erase what I said. Okay, I'll go back to school now. I move to approve the request for a variance from section 1678 to allow the encroachment into the 75-foot stream buffer to install a new deck and sunroom converted from part of an existing deck, subject to conditions presented by staff and with the following additions or modifications. Yeah, I should have seen this before. Then 1, construction must be in substantial compliance with the submitted site plan prepared by Alpha Land Services on 1/10/6/2021 and the set of plans prepared by artisans of Atlanta on 1/6/22. The concrete patio must be demolished in accordance with the set plans prepared by artisans of Atlanta on 1/6/2022. A mitigation plan with native erosion control ground coverings on the stream bank must be provided at the time permitting and is subject to approval of the community development director and the city arborist. If construction has not commenced within 2 years of the granting of this variance, approval shall be void.
Thank you, Artie. We have a motion to approve option 3. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second as well. I think Ryan beat the buzzer. Ryan E over Ryan S. Might have been close. Yeah. All right. So we have a second motion on the table. All those in favor of approving as read by Artie, option number 3. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. All right, moving on to the second case of the evening, ZBA 21-31, Joshua and Lori Lubin, homeowners at 2199 Star Cross Court, Dunwoody, request a variance from chapter 16, section 78 to allow a new fence to encroach into the 25-foot and 75-foot stream buffers.
So the second case is ZBA 21-31, and let me skip to it on the PowerPoint. Locked out? Oh.
Mine's working.
I'm back.
Mine's working.
Mine's working.
I need to log in.
You can have mine because I have my other ones.
I've
here,
got a
so-
big screen and
Yeah.
everything here.
Ryan and I will share.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I think Madeline's also talking to our IT to figure out a solution for that. But we could-
Go ahead, we're good.
okay, sounds good.
Yes, thank you.
So the second case is ZBA 21-31, 2199 Starcross Court. They are requesting a variance to allow a new fence into the 25-foot and 75-foot stream buffers. These are the existing conditions. Their backyard is fairly wooded and there is a steep drop at the bank of the stream. As you can see, the majority of their backyard is within the 75-foot stream buffer and a portion of it is within the 25-foot stream buffer as well. As a point of clarification, the installation of a fence is an exempt activity within the state's 25-foot stream buffer, so they don't need a variance from the state for that. However, the city requires a variance for a fence within the 75-foot stream buffer. So that prompted the need for the variance.
Sorry, before you proceed. So why are we even mentioning the 25-foot state buffer in the application? If it's not, if it's a moot issue.
I believe it's just for clarification on it.
Okay.
So the applicant proposes to construct a 5-foot high wooden ranch rail fence, the location of which is outlined in black on the site plan to the right. And there is a more detailed site plan to the left. The design of the fence would allow for uninterrupted water during rain events and would result in minimal land disturbance. Staff foresees no negative impacts on the stream buffer. In general, a fence is a standard and often necessary improvement for a backyard. Based on these reasons, staff recommends approval of ZBA 21-31, subject to the conditions on the screen here. That's all I have for you.
Excellent. Thank you. The homeowners or anyone representing them here this evening, please proceed to the podium and state your name.
Hello, I'm Josh Lubin, homeowner, here with my wife, Lori, and one of my daughters, Abby. Abby, you can wave.
See anybody behind the pillar? They don't know who's here.
Yeah, so a few months ago, we adopted a dog, and we didn't have a fence, but we definitely need one. Could use one with your approval. I think Allegra did a great job just outlining what we propose. Based on what we said, we reviewed all of the ordinances and understand, I guess the basis of it, but we believe that it will not impede, really cause any, major issues or environment. I can highlight sort of some of our defenses of this or justifications of it from our letter of intent, but I don't know if that's necessary unless you guys feel that. I think it's pretty straightforward. I guess I can summarize it.
That's fine. You can opt not to, and we can ask questions.
I think that'd be fine.
Okay.
I mean, I can summarize it with really the last statement of this letter of intent was the fence will not negatively impact our neighbors, community, or the stream and wildlife surrounding it. I think
That's it.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but happy to answer questions.
Okay, excellent. Anyone else here that wants to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in opposition? I suspect not. But... Okay, great. So we'll close the public comment section and open it up to the board discussion and questions. Do you have any questions on this one? We have a motion.
I move to approve the variance from section 1678 to allow a fence, or excuse me, to allow the encroachment of a fence into the 25 and 75-foot stream buffers to subject to the conditions presented by staff. First of all, the fence must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and fence plan prepared by First Fence of Georgia in Appendix A. The fence shall be constructed with hand tools only. And if construction has not commenced within 1 year of the granting of this variance, approval shall be void.
Thank you.
I second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor of approving this variance, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Variance is approved. Any other business? Nothing, huh? Okay. Public comment. All right, excellent. Board comment?
Yes, one thing. The gentleman that mentioned the stream buffer thing, that's appreciated because, as someone, as a resident as myself that lives in a stream buffer, there unfortunately is just a lot of trees that naturally fall in these buffers as a result of, whatever, Mother Nature. And a lot of the times it's not a big deal, but a lot of times it can affect your property. It's a lot of work. So if there's just want to put it on the record, if there's some kind of long-term strategy the city can look at as far as cleaning up some of this, so that I know it's a tough subject sometimes. It's not cheap, but I just want to make sure that I appreciate that gentleman saying that, because we have beautiful stream buffers, streams. We want to make sure that they're running properly and cleaned up, and that we protect what's there. And yeah.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Yes, I mean, most of Dunwoody is built, as we've seen. A lot of the home structures are actually already in the 75-foot stream buffer. So we see a lot of variances, obviously, because they can't do anything unless you're allowing variances on a currently compromised situation, which is a non-conformity, but there's a grandfather non-conformities because of the 75-foot stream buffer. But you're right, just in general. If you go to the nature center, right, they're falling all over the place, but you look at that and you replicate that across the entire community, and it's significant. I understand that. So good points for the record. Any other board comment? All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Congratulations.